Labour often talks tough on law and order, insisting they'll crack down on knife crime and keep Britain's streets safe. But their new sentencing bill tells a very different story. Under the proposed changes, many offenders caught carrying knives will no longer face automatic prison sentences. Instead, they could walk free with community orders or warnings, a move that many believe sends entirely the wrong message. We'll dive into this story in today's video, but before we get started, don't forget to like this video and subscribe. Right now, only 12% of viewers are subscribed, so join the community and help us grow. Knife crime is one of the most pressing issues facing the country. Families have been torn apart, young lives lost, and communities left living in fear. The public expects strong leadership and firm action, not policies that appear to reward leniency. In the clip you're about to see, Esther McVey calls out the sheer inconsistency of Labour's position. On one hand, they speak about protecting communities and reducing violence. On the other, they're introducing a law that weakens consequences for carrying deadly weapons. This isn't about politics, it's about public safety. If people think they can carry knives without serious consequences, more will take that risk. That's not justice, that's failure. Britain needs sentencing laws that deter violence and protect victims, not ones that prioritize optics over outcomes. As Esther McVey rightly highlights, you can't solve knife crime with soft laws and mixed messages. It's time for Parliament to stop playing politics with public safety and start standing up for the communities who live with the consequences every day. Have a watch of this.
I think most people will believe that we've completely lost the plot if we allow some offences to be ones where prison sentences cannot generally be handed down. New clause 44 would exclude knife crime from being one of them. I can't actually believe that I'm having to table an amendment to prevent a whole load of criminals who carry knives from being kept out of prison. Yet this is what the bill will do. Does no one anywhere actually think through what is being proposed and how it will affect public safety? It would be completely disgraceful for this government to ever claim to be serious about tackling knife crime when, under this legislation, the presumption will be that many people carrying a knife will no longer be sent to prison. How is this going to help prevent the loss of life on our streets? I will indeed.
Honourable Lady, for making this point, because many of us will have examples in our own constituencies of families that have been tragically affected by knife crime. Some of those go on to do some amazing work to try and help educate young people, but at the same time, it's important that where a sentence has been given, it is actually carried out, and that almost deterrent is in place, because yet again we're seeing from the benches opposite, from the Labour government, the removal of deterrence.
That honourable friend is absolutely right. The removal of a deterrent is what this bill is doing. And I will also mention repeat knife offenders are supposed to get a mandatory minimum 6-month immediate custodial sentence, not to be given an effective guarantee that they are likely to evade prison because their sentence is 12 months or less. Why would anyone think twice about carrying a knife if they know they are going to not see the inside of a cell and the courts will be powerless to send them to?
Knife crime destroys lives, and the public deserves real action, not political soundbites. If the law goes soft on those who carry weapons, it sends the message that the system doesn't take public safety seriously. Labour's new sentencing bill risks undoing years of effort to make our streets safer. We need laws that deter violence, not policies that excuse it. Britain's justice system should stand firmly on the side of victims and communities, not offenders. Strong leadership means making tough choices, and that starts with keeping dangerous weapons, and those who carry them, off our streets. Anything less is a betrayal of public trust. In other news, Nigel Farage has predicted that economic chaos will force Sir Keir Starmer to hold an early general election in 2027. The Reform UK leader made the somewhat surprising claim during his keynote speech at the Banking Hall in the City of London earlier today. Mr. Farage said, "The markets are getting nervy. We've seen this with 10 and 30-year gilt yields. In fact, I think my own view is that in 2 budgets' time, the markets will actually force the Chancellor into what will be a genuine austerity budget, at which point the left and the Labour Party won't buy it. And it's why I still stand by my prediction that there will be a general election caused by economic collapse that will happen in 2027. Opinion polls suggest Mr. Farage might yet win the next general election, with YouGov's recent MRP poll putting Reform UK just short of an overall majority. However, today was not the first time the Reform UK leader predicted that Labour would need to hold an early general election. Mr. Farage made a similar prediction in August when he was unveiling Reform UK's plan to deport illegal migrants. He doubled down on an early poll during his keynote speech at Reform UK's annual conference in Birmingham in early September. Despite preparing for a 2027 poll, the power to call an early general election lies with the Prime Minister. However, Mr. Farage's comments about the left of the Labour Party appear to suggest that the Reform UK leader believes a backbench rebellion could see Sir Keir Starmer lose a no-confidence vote. Ex-Labour leader Jim Callaghan was the last Prime Minister to lose a confidence vote, with SNP switchers forcing an early poll in 1979. There have been 13 unsuccessful no-confidence votes since Margaret Thatcher came to power following Mr. Callaghan's Commons defeat. More than 3 million people last year put pressure on Sir Keir to call an immediate general election by signing a petition on Parliament's website. A second petition, which is yet to be approved for a Westminster Hall debate, received more than 1 million signatures. Sir Keir rejected both calls for a snap poll, instead pointing out that the power to call a general election lies with the Prime Minister. The Dissolution and Calling of Parliament Act, which replaced the now repealed Fixed-Term Parliaments Act, ensures the latest date for the next general election to be held is August 21st, 2029. However, Mr. Farage used his speech today to set out Reform UK's fiscal policy ahead of the next general election. Mr. Farage pledged that Reform UK would lead the most pro-business government in modern history. The Clacton MP also promised sweeping deregulation as he warned that the UK had squandered Brexit. Mr. Farage said, "One of my own great frustrations is that Brexit has been squandered. The opportunity to sensibly deregulate, the opportunity to become competitive globally, all of that has been squandered. And the worst thing is that regulations and the way regulators behave with British business is now worse than it was at the time of the Brexit referendum vote." However, Mr. Farage separately looked to alleviate public concerns about Reform UK's ability to manage the economy, rowing back on his previous pledge to instigate £90 billion worth of tax cuts. Mr. Farage warned slashing levies was not realistic at this current moment in time. He added, "We want to cut taxes, of course we do, but we understand substantial tax cuts given the dire state of debt, and our finances are not realistic at this current moment in time. There are some relatively modest things we would do. We would immediately remove IHT from family farms and from family-run businesses, and we will raise the thresholds at which people start to pay tax to begin the process of getting people out of the 16-hour-a-week working debt trap that so many people find themselves in." A Labour spokesman said, "Nigel Farage has promised a return to damaging austerity, taking an axe to public services, with no cuts off the table. He complained the minimum wage is too high for young workers, while doubling down on his golden giveaway to foreign billionaires. Reform would slash the NHS, schools and pensions, and cancel Labour's investment in local roads, rail and clean energy, putting millions of jobs at risk and wreaking havoc on family finances." What are your thoughts on what we discussed in today's video? Let me know down in the comment section below. If you have not yet already, make sure you do drop a like on this video and subscribe to the channel for more British content. Thank you, take care, goodbye.